Wagyu beef is undoubtedly one of the most famous Japanese delicacies. Marbled Wagyu is like a work of art, not only delicious but also visually appealing. Why is Wagyu so tasty? Why does only Wagyu have marble, and why is it so expensive? Many people have tasted the beef, but how many know the true value of it and understand the hardships involved in raising Wagyu cattle? Even the Japanese have some misconceptions about Wagyu, including the famous A5 mythology. This myth has spread worldwide, and many people mistakenly believe that A5 Wagyu beef is the highest grade and most delicious. While it's true that A5 Wagyu is the most expensive, is it really the tastiest? Director Akito from Japan will introduce the actual value of Wagyu and the story of its birth. We will explore the trials and errors experienced by the Japanese in their pursuit of the highest quality beef. It's hard to believe that the Japanese, who did not consume beef 200 years ago, invented the world-famous Wagyu? I can't help but share this fascinating story with you. A5 Wagyu is the most delicious is just a mythology. The Japanese have better understood Wagyu in recent years, and more people have tasted it. They have realized that A5 only sometimes equates to the most delicious taste. However, the A5 myth is still mainstream in Japan. The group promoting A5 has achieved total victory. Please understand A5 Wagyu is not without its deliciousness. It is complex, and it's not easy to conclude that a particular grade of Wagyu is guaranteed to be delicious. Wagyu is food, and factors such as cooking methods and individual tastes also influence its deliciousness, aside from the meat quality itself. There is no absolutely delicious food in the world, and expensive ingredients are only sometimes tastier than home-cooked meals. Therefore, the idea that A5 is the pinnacle of gourmet food is a mythology. Let's first explain what the A5 grade means. The impression most people have of Wagyu is the marbling of fat in the rich beef. In commonly seen American and Australian beef, the fat is spread around the edge of the red meat. Wagyu is extraordinary, with fat evenly distributed within the red meat, resembling a beautiful frost falling from the sky. The A5 is a grading, with the letters A and 5 representing different meanings. The number indicates the meat quality grade, with factors such as the meat's color, the fat's color, and the fat distribution determining the grade. The lowest grade is 1, and the highest is 5. Even with marbling, if the fat's color is too light, it will not achieve the highest grade of 5. The English letter represents how much meat from a cow can be used for consumption. When restaurants and butcher shops purchase meat, if there is too much subcutaneous fat surrounding the beef, that fat cannot be sold to customers, and the cow's rating will be lower. The larger the cow's shoulder and flank area, the higher the rating. The lowest rating is C, and the highest is A. In Japanese, this is called the yield grade. There are 15 levels, ranging from the lowest C1 to the highest A5. Based on these ratings, many people mistakenly believe that the highest rated A5 represents the most delicious taste. Once again, this is an illusion. You may have noticed that neither the meat quality nor the good meat yield grade assesses taste. Even highly marbled meat may not be delicious. Furthermore, those who dislike excessive fat might not find fatty marbled beef tasty and prefer leaner red meat. In recent years, there has been a growing trend for red meat in Japan, which I also support. When choosing Wagyu, I try not to choose grade 5 meat and instead opt for leaner beef from the thigh. Moreover, the excellent meat yield grade has even less to do with consumers. This rating is intended for restaurants and butcher shops and has nothing to do with taste. Since Wagyu breeds have been improved, it is rare for them to be rated as grade C. So, A5 and B4 each have their own unique characteristics. For those who prefer red meat, blindly pursuing A5 might not make more sense. You might spend a lot of money, but you may not get the Wagyu you like. A5 is a myth and a beautiful misunderstanding. To clarify, A5 may or may not be delicious. A5 marbled Wagyu has a higher fat content and melts in the mouth, so many people enjoy A5. Most Japanese people need help understanding the meaning of A5 too. After watching this video, not only will you be more familiar with Wagyu than most Japanese, but you'll also be an informed consumer. Up to this point, it's just an introduction. The real charm of Wagyu will be presented to you now. After understanding what A5 is, The next step is to learn about Wagyu. Japanese people have only been eating beef for about 200 years. Japan is a predominantly agricultural society, and cows used to be the perfect partners for plowing and transportation. The beef of the past was unsuitable for consumption, with its biggest drawback being its small size. The birth of Wagyu is full of drama. During the Meiji Restoration, Japan introduced various Western cultures. Seeing Westerners enjoying beef, the Japanese were enlightened and began using their own cows for culinary purposes. They encountered a significant problem: Wagyu had a small frame and limited meat yield. Soon, they had consumed almost all of their cows. Robert Bakewell, the father of modern livestock breeding in Britain, discovered cattle, horse, and sheep breeding improvement techniques in the 18th century. His research influenced Darwin and generations who continued to improve livestock breeds. The Japanese introduced improved foreign beef cattle to crossbreed with their Wagyu, hoping to create a meaty, edible cow. Still, crossbreeding proved more difficult than making YouTube videos. The resulting cows were often sickly, and while they had more meat, the quality was poor. The breeding improvement failed, and most of the Wagyu crossbred with foreign cattle, resulting in a large population of mixed-breed cows. However, it was due to this failed improvement that today's Wagyu exists. After several wars, Japan began to revive its Wagyu policy, but it was too late. Foreign mixed-breed cattle were found all over Japan, but a miracle occurred after the failed breeding improvement. In a remote village in Hyogo Prefecture, Kamicho, 4 purebred Wagyu cows were discovered, the Tajima cows. Those familiar with Wagyu may have heard of the Tajima name. While beef cattle breeding improvement projects were underway across Japan, the small and agile Tajima cows were helping farmers in terrace fields. The Wagyu cows in Kamicho were not crossbred. These 4 Tajima cows ultimately gave birth to the legendary offspring, the bull Tajiri-go. Tajima cows are purebred Wagyu and belong to the Japanese black breed. The Japanese black commonly seen today are the descendants of Tajiri-go. Tajiri-go, born in 1939, marked the beginning of Japan's modern Japanese black breed. Tajiri-go lived for 15 years, and its owner, Tajiri Matsuzo, nurtured it in the favorable environment of Kamicho at an altitude of 700 meters, making Tajiri-go the father of the Japanese black breed. At the time, there was no technology for freezing semen, so Tajiri-go tirelessly mated with other cows throughout its life, producing 1,500 calves and averaging 100 offspring yearly. This was far more impressive than any emperor or nobleman of the past. According to official DNA data from 2012, more than 99.9% of the Japanese black cows in Japan are descendants of Tajiri-go. The delicious Wagyu we enjoy today is thanks to the efforts of Tajiri Matsuzo and Tajiri-go. Tajiri-go created the world of Japanese Wagyu. Why can we say this? It is because the vast majority of the Japanese black breed are descendants of Tajiri-go, and more than 90% of all Wagyu belong to the Japanese black breed. Yakiniku and teppanyaki restaurants. There are large posters promoting that they serve Japanese black. This is not surprising, as over 90% of the Japanese Wagyu in circulation are Japanese black. It's actually quite rare to find non-Japanese black due to the influence of the A5 myth, and the demand for other Wagyu breeds is not as high. Japanese Wagyu has a strict grading system and individual management system, making tracking the supply of different species in the market easy. Besides Japanese black, do you know any other Wagyu breeds? You might think there is only one kind of Wagyu, but there are 4. The most popular is the Japanese black breed, with the world-famous Kobe beef descendant of Tajima cattle, Tajiri-go. Other famous breeds include Matsusaka beef from Mie Prefecture, Yonezawa beef from Yamagata Prefecture, and Omi beef from Shiga Prefecture. The most prominent feature of Japanese black is its marbling, with the rich and tender beef melting in your mouth and directly stimulating your taste buds. There are over 1.6 million Japanese black cattle in Japan, making it the primary breed and dominating the Wagyu market. Japanese brown is mostly bred in Kumamoto Prefecture in Kyushu, Kochi Prefecture in Shikoku, and Hokkaido. Their hair is brown, and they have thicker subcutaneous fat. The marbling is only second to Japanese black, but it has a stronger meat flavor, making it perfect for those who enjoy a mix of marbling and red meat. There are over 20,000 Japanese browns in Japan, which is not a large number. For every 100 Japanese black, there is only one Japanese brown. Japanese shorthorn are mostly found in Hokkaido, Iwate Prefecture, Akita Prefecture, and other Tohoku regions. Among them, the most famous is Iwate Shorthorn Wagyu. Since they live in cold regions, they have thicker subcutaneous fat and a meat quality similar to Japanese brown. Red meat has a rich flavor, and adding a little salt to a steak is already very delicious. There are over 8,000 of them in Japan, making them relatively rare. The last breed is the Japanese Polled, found in Abu District in Yamaguchi Prefecture, the southernmost part of Honshu. They have more red meat and little marbling, making them ideal for steaks. There are only around 300 Japanese Polled in Japan, making them extremely rare. To increase their numbers, Yamaguchi Prefecture has established a breeding center specifically for Japanese Polled. When researching various sources, I found different numbers of Japanese Polled recorded in different years, such as 120 and 200. The latest official data is 300, suggesting that the number of Japanese Polled is gradually increasing and breeding is successful. Next time you visit Yamaguchi Prefecture, try to find a shop selling Japanese Polled and get a taste of the rare breed with its rich red meat flavor. To recap the quantities of the 4 types of Wagyu, there are 1.6 million Japanese black, 20,000 Japanese brown, 8,000 shorthorn Wagyu, and 300 Japanese Polled. As you can see, the number of Japanese black far surpasses the others, which is why they are used as the restaurant's main selling point. It makes sense, and if you see a shop offering other types of Wagyu, you should give it a try to expand your horizons. Please don't misunderstand that the large quantity of Japanese black will result in a lower value. In fact, the other 3 types of Wagyu are too rare and should not be compared with Japanese black using the same standard. Due to the nature of their meat, Japanese brown, shorthorn, and Japanese Polled with less marbling and more red meat will not be graded as A5 but rather B2 to B4. The general public is attracted to A5-graded Japanese black, and without adequate knowledge, they blindly chase after A5 Japanese black. In the free market mechanism, the high demand for Japanese black leads to farmers actively raising them to increase efficiency and income, ultimately resulting in most Wagyu being Japanese black on the market. Only a few magazines and websites are introducing Wagyu, and many that provide in-depth information only go this far. Readers may think that Japanese black is the root of the problem or the villain. I will delve deeper into this topic and explain that the reality is the opposite. Japanese black is the savior of Wagyu. A5 Japanese black revitalized Japan's cattle farming industry. In the 1950s, Japanese brown, characterized by its high red meat content, was highly sought after and commanded premium prices. However, by the 1960s, many Japanese consumers preferred beef's fatty, marble texture. Consequently, the population of Japanese black, known for producing well-marbled beef, increased gradually. In the 1990s, Japan's beef market experienced a significant shift due to the liberalization of beef trade. European and American mass-produced beef, considerably cheaper than small-scale Wagyu production, attracted consumers who flocked to purchase European, American, and Australian beef. This trend placed Japanese Wagyu at risk of extinction. European, American, and Australian beef predominantly feature red meat. To remain competitive, Japanese Wagyu needed to distinguish itself from these varieties. Marbled Japanese black became the cornerstone of this differentiating strategy. The Japan Meat Grading Association introduced beef grading standards emphasizing high-quality melt-in-your-mouth fat to compete with the mass-produced beef from Europe, America, and Australia. The A5 grade was created as a result of this crisis. According to Japanese grading standards, most imported American and Australian beef received a B2 to B3 rating. A5 Wagyu set itself apart from American and Australian beef, making it easier for consumers to differentiate between the two. This distinction gave consumers a reason to opt for the more expensive Wagyu. Consequently, Japanese black became the savior of the Japanese Wagyu industry. However, this victory came at a cost. The numbers of the other 3 types of Wagyu drastically decreased, limiting consumer choices. Unwittingly, A5 Wagyu has become synonymous with the highest quality Wagyu. Nevertheless, in the face of competition from more affordable European, American, and Australian beef, the beef industry and restaurants are reluctant to clarify that A5 does not necessarily guarantee exceptional flavor in hopes that the A5 myth will endure. Farmers have focused on producing intensely marbled beef to maintain Wagyu's competitive edge, sometimes prioritizing its appearance over flavor. Consequently, some A5-rated Wagyu on the market boasts a melt-in-your-mouth fat content but lacks the beef's inherently rich taste. Certain diners who have sampled A5 Wagyu may have encountered unpleasant experiences, paying premium prices for delicious Wagyu only to be served a piece of meat replete with melt-in-your-mouth fat that causes indigestion. As early as the 1980s, a comprehensive plan to counter imported beef had been devised. The A5 grade was essentially tailored for Japanese black when developing the beef grading system. As long as the A5 myth persists, Japanese Wagyu farmers and breeds can prosper. Regrettably, with Wagyu being exported to foreign countries for breeding, non-Japanese Wagyu has entered the market, resulting in American and Australian Wagyu circulating globally. Despite the Japanese government's efforts to protect authentic Wagyu by prohibiting the export of Wagyu cattle and their semen, it has not succeeded in preventing the export of these prize breeds. In 1976, Wagyu cattle were transported to Colorado in the United States for research purposes but were ultimately misused. Between 1993 and 1997, approximately 200 male and female Wagyu cattle and 15,000 samples of semen were exported from Hokkaido farms and related companies to the United States and later shipped to Australia. Wagyu cattle continued to be exported from the United States to other countries, such as Australia. According to 2018 data, 5 large-scale Australian farms collectively raised 3,800 Wagyu cattle, with most foreign-produced Wagyu now originating from Australia. Australia is also working diligently to improve the quality of its Wagyu. As Wagyu from other countries enter the market, finding Japanese-produced Wagyu is still relatively easy in Japan. However, it relies on a unified Wagyu label in Europe and the United States. The agreement on trade-related aspects of intellectual property rights is the most effective agreement in place to protect the intellectual property rights of various countries and has been in effect since 1994. Unfortunately, the world is full of tragic incidents, and the leak at Hokkaido Wagyu occurred in 1995. The Japanese government was not proactive in protecting Wagyu and failed to prevent its export. After the 1995 Wagyu export incident, the United States and Australia rapidly developed Wagyu production. It wasn't until 2014 that the Japanese government organized domestic laws to protect the high-quality crop and livestock breeds from being exported. Lovers of high-quality Japanese Wagyu must rely on their own efforts to find the genuine Japanese product. While Japan has made great strides in preserving Wagyu and avoiding its extinction, it has yet to escape the consequences of Wagyu being exported to foreign countries, ultimately undermining its previous achievements. Facing the threats of an excessive focus on marbling appearance and the issue of foreign-produced Wagyu, relying solely on the A5 myth can no longer protect the Wagyu industry. The Japanese people won't give up so easily. So, what other methods can be employed to allow consumers to taste genuinely delicious Japanese-produced Wagyu? You've likely heard of Kobe beef, Matsusaka beef, and Omi beef, the 3 major branded Wagyu varieties in Japan. In addition to relying on beef grading, Japanese ranches across the country strive to produce even higher quality beef. They also establish various conditions to ensure the quality of their beef. The Japanese excel at spending time and effort mastering an art and technique. The Japanese artisan culture is complex for Europe, America, and Australia to imitate. The most famous Wagyu brand globally is Kobe beef. Raising a Wagyu cow is no easy task, as purebred Tajima cattle are raised for 960 days, much longer than the typical 600-day period. The longer the rearing period, the richer the flavor of the Wagyu. They also carefully select virgin female cows or castrated male cows to control the Wagyu's size, concentrating the beef's flavor. Kobe beef supplies only 3,000 head of cattle annually, meaning just 8 per day, making it incredibly rare. Various regulations maintain the quality and taste of Wagyu, addressing the issue of A5 Wagyu relying solely on marbling appearance. Randomly choosing A5 Japanese Black might result in beef lacking in meat flavor and excessive fat. However, choosing branded Wagyu offers a certain level of quality assurance, allowing you to taste high-quality Wagyu even if it's not A5 graded. Among the branded Wagyu, Matsusaka beef is an extraordinary brand, which is already high quality as regular Matsusaka beef. The regulations for specialty Matsusaka beef are even stricter, accounting for only 2.5% of Tajima cattle, with 200 heads supplied per year at maximum. Ranch workers spend over 900 days meticulously raising these cows, and only virgin female cows can become specialty Matsusaka beef. This specialty Matsusaka beef breaks the concept of the A5 myth and escapes the beef grading system. Whether it is A5 or not, Matsusaka has strict selection criteria for high-quality Wagyu. Matsusaka beef is characterized by not having excessive marbling, resulting in a rich beef flavor. Japanese Wagyu has undergone numerous trials and failures. In the era of mass production, the Japanese have developed branded beef by leveraging their areas of expertise. They provide consumers with the best product by dedicating time and effort to raising each Wagyu cow. What other challenges could threaten the position of branded beef? After the Industrial Revolution, in pursuit of efficiency, livestock couldn't escape the fate of mass production. Wagyu faced multiple challenges. It was once unsuccessfully impacted by foreign cattle breeding, then by the trade liberalization of cheaper beef, and finally, by the export of Wagyu overseas. Initially, in the agricultural era, each Wagyu cow was cherished by farmers. After various trials, each Wagyu cow receives careful attention from ranch workers, spending 900 days being raised. Japan's Wagyu industry is running counter to the era of mass production. Each Wagyu cow has its name, and the records of its parents and grandparents are clearly documented. The calf's records are like a human birth certificate, documenting various information about the Wagyu, such as its name, nose print equivalent to a fingerprint, and bloodline records tracing back to its great-grandparents. Anyone can use a unique identification number to look up the records of each Wagyu cow. The records include the ranch where the cow was born and where it was raised. Many people now pursue food safety and quality, giving rise to traceability. The individual identification number system provides this traceability. The system for managing Wagyu is believed to be the most perfect in use. The Wagyu sold in supermarkets has a unique identification number printed on the packaging. Some restaurants display the identification numbers of the Wagyu served that day, allowing both the restaurant and customers to look them up. When encountering delicious Wagyu, you can record the ranch and bloodline of the cow to help with future purchases. Before watching this video, you may have seen Wagyu as just a piece of high-quality beef on your dinner table. After watching it, Wagyu is no longer just a piece of high-quality beef. Behind each piece of Wagyu on the table is a heroic story. Although Wagyu is ultimately consumed, the Japanese spare no effort to improve its quality, showing the utmost respect for Wagyu.